Hi, this is Karen. I'm with InspiredByGram.com. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you the simple stamping Sunday card that I've chosen for you. And what that is, it's a card design that's really quick and easy to cut and mass produce. And it's also very simple stamping. We've just got a sentiment on the outside here. And we build this flower using the perennial flower and the small bloom punch. All right, so let's talk about the paper. The designer series paper I chose to work with today is the Flowers for Every Season. This comes in a 6x6 designer series paper pack, which gives you 24 different designs, not just the 12 that you see on this side, but you also have all these fun designs as well. And that's called Flowers for Every Season, and it's found on page 148 of the annual catalog. I've chosen to work with Here's a Card. It's a cling stamp set and it's from Stampin' Up. All right, so the card base is this really, really bright, beautiful magenta madness, and it is cut 8.5 by 5.5. I've already pre-scored it at 4 1/4. The Whisper White panel is 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. And the Flowers for Every Season designer series paper is simply cut 3 by 3, and that way you can maximize your designer series paper to get the most out of your card design here. And the other piece here, which is going to go on the bottom of your card front, is cut 4 by 2 3/4. All right, so let's use our stamp and seal, and we're just going to add our adhesive on all 4 sides. And when I use the stamp and seal, I did have a little bit of problem with it at first, but if you just, I just learned, I'm still really learning because I really want to press hard with it, that you don't need to press hard. It's just a very, very light touch. Okay, so the Night of Navy ink is what I've chosen for today's card. And you made my day, so I'm just going to ink that up real quick, and I'm going to stamp it in the lower right corner on that Whisper White panel. Okay, looks easy so far. So while this is drying, I'm just going to set it aside, and we're going to work on building up this flower here. So again, I'm using 2 different punches. I'm using the small bloom punch, and I'm also using the perennial flower punch, both in the annual catalogs. You will need a piece of Whisper White, and also you'll need a scrap of Just Jade. So I'm going to use the perennial flower punch first, and I'm just going to simply punch out 2 flowers here. Let me see if I can get one out of this scrap. Yes, I can. All right, so there's 2. And now the small bloom punch, I only need 1, so I've got a scrap of Whisper White. And we are all set punching out our pieces for our flower. So now to give those flowers a little bit of life, we want to break down the fibers. And so what I do is I just use my bone folder, and I just curl these up really carefully. I'm gripping the center with my thumb and index finger, and it just gives a little bit of life to those petals. Okay, so we'll just go around each one, gripping it and not pulling too hard because you don't want to rip that petal off. And now with a small bloom punch, I'm going to do the same thing, just gripping it in the middle and rolling my bone folder up. If you don't have a bone folder, you could use a pencil, or you could simply use your fingers too, to give it a little bit of curl. All right, so now I'm going to use, for my adhesive to build the flower, I'm going to be using the multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm just going to add a little bit to the center, and I'm going to offset the petals so it fills in that area that's open. So it looks like this so far, and excuse my fingers, are all Night of Navy ink. Somehow my ink pad is very juicy on this humid day, and it doesn't come off very easy right at first. All right, so now I'm just going to add that small bloom flower to the center. I'm just going to hold it in place for about 5 seconds to give that adhesive time to adhere to the cardstock. All right, so that's what it looks like right now. Now let's assemble the card. Again, this is 4 by 2 3/4, and I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal. And you notice the Stampin' Seal doesn't have any noise like the snail did. So that's another thing I actually really need to try to get used to, is the sound of the adhesive. There is none, or very, very limited noise coming from it. All right, so let's add the adhesive again. So see, that time it didn't stay up there. So I'm just gonna roll that up till it gets to that little notch thing. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I have no idea what it is. Again, I'm not putting adhesive on all edges because this adhesive is super sticky and you don't need to, so save your adhesive. All right, so I'm just gonna give that a nice little press to add the flower, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of height, so I'm gonna add a dimensional to the back side. Just give it a press with my thumbnail and peel it off the backing. All right, and now I'm gonna aim one of these petals up to this corner here. Okay, and now to finish it off, I am going to be using my gold glitter enamel dots. I'm gonna be using the largest size. I'm gonna use my Take Your Pick tool and the sharp edge pointer, actually. I'm just gonna add that right to the middle of the card, and that's all you need. All right, so here's our card we made. Let me just show you another one I made here with a different greeting. It says, "I can't begin to count all the times we've laughed together." So super, super cute card. And then I've got another one over here where I did actually add a few little more glittered enamel dots. So don't forget about using my Hostess code for the month of July. You'll get a free package of Stampin' Dimensionals if your order qualifies. And you can find all of that information and all the Stampin' Up! Supplies at my store, which is inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.